Google Forms quizzes provide you with lots of information and lots of data about how they did on that quiz. This is a very useful tool for teachers that want to use this assessment as a way to figure out what they need to reteach to their students. So, to find out how your students did, click on Responses. So you'll probably be in the Questions tab, click to Responses. Now this gives me quite a bit of information right from the start. I'm in the summary view, so it first tells me the average out of 5 points, the median score, and the range of scores. Now, if I want to look at the total points distribution, if I hover over one of the bars, it tells me how many students scored 5 points on this assessment. Same thing with 4, 3, 2, 1 point, and then 0 points. So if I were to continue to scroll down, I can see how they did on all of the questions as a group. I intentionally scrolled past their names, but I asked them identifying questions of their first and last names and their email addresses. For their security, I'm going to skip over them. But see, there's a pie chart here. This shows me the breakdown of what class period they're in. I give quiz codes as well, a little bit for test security. That's going to be explained in Google Forms Quizzes Part 2. It's just a little more advanced, and I didn't want to include that in this video. So then it goes question by question, and you can see what the correct answer is in the bar graph. It tells you what percentage of students got it correct, and then which percentage of students answered the other possible choices. This gives you a clear indication of whether or not students understood that question. And if they missed it and many of the students marked the same answer, that's going to give you good information when you go back to reteach that. So that's going to do that for each question that's a multiple choice question. So you can see I'm scrolling through here and I can see how well students answered or understood each question. Along with looking at the responses as a summary, I can also do this by selecting question. So I've skipped ahead to question number 5, and what this does is it just shows me what the question is and then how many students answered it each way. So to figure out different questions, click on the arrow here to go to next questions. The next tab is individual. If I click on individual, this is going to let me see each individual's quiz. So again, I scrolled down a little bit to protect the students' names and identifying information. But see, this is a specific individual student's quiz here. So I could scroll down to see how they answered on each one. Now if I go all the way up to the top, I will then be able to see who it is and click over to the next student. The next feature I want to show you in the responses is to look at your students' responses in Google Sheets. When I click on that, it's going to open up a spreadsheet. Now, the first time you click on that, you are going to have to create a spreadsheet. To do that, it will prompt you. There'll be a create button. Simply click create. Now notice it has all of this different information. It timestamps the quiz. It collected their email address because that was one of my questions. It scored the quiz automatically, and then we see first name and last name, class period, and then over here are each student's individual answers. So it's just another way to look at how your students answered questions. This will be particularly helpful when transferring grades to your gradebook. The last item I want to show you here under responses is this accepting responses. When I have this open, that means students can access the Google form and answer questions. If I click right here, it turns the Google form off and students can no longer answer questions.